are a big
Hey guys, welcome
housing
back
first
to
community.
Conversations on a Bench. And we have a very special guest, right at the 12:30 hour. His name is Andrew Neal. He's the CEO of an organization here in Indianapolis called Outreach Inc. And he's been here working and working in the community for probably 3, 4, 5 years. And so welcome, Andrew. I really appreciate you being here. And
Yeah.
so, I'm kind of running on fumes right now.
Yeah, I see.
So if I say something loopy, just ignore me and stay calm and carry on, right?
Absolutely.
Like the British say. But no, we're really happy to talk to you, and we've had a great group of scheduled people. This is wonderful having stuff like this.
Oh, yeah.
This is the city. This is what we see every day,
Yep.
right? And this is what we deal with. And so, and hopefully my people will come in. And we've got a police officer over here too. So, yeah. But anyway, what we're going to do today, Andrew, is we're going to talk about Conversations on Events and the national event. You know all about it, and I just want you to let us know. Kind of, you deal with homeless youth every day, right? And you've been dealing with homeless youth in several of your positions. So, why don't you tell us a little bit about Outreach? How it's addressing the youth homeless crisis, and I do look at it as a crisis in our community. When I say crisis, I'm not saying it's unsolvable, but it is something that needs consistent, intentional, and urgent attention.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, so Outreach has been around in Indianapolis for going on 30 years.
Okay.
We focus on serving 14 to 24-year-olds who are experiencing homelessness, all different types of homelessness, from chronically homeless to couch surfing to staying in motels or in their vehicles. We really are all about meeting them with relationship and love. And it's been really cool because Outreach is a part of the same network that Wheeler is, Citygate. And so there's those shared values that exist. And we're all about in that, trying to help our youth find stability and life transformation.
Give me some stats about Outreach, just for the person on Facebook Live or YouTube who don't know anything about homeless youth in the city. Give me some stats about the people Outreach serves and even the people that you see every year.
Yeah, absolutely. So, one of the most alarming things for our city is that there are an estimated 8,100 14 to 24-year-olds who experience homelessness every year.
So 14, get that. 14 is high school, a high school freshman to 34.
Yep. So, I think that's a huge number. Outreach is serving close to 1,000 of those, over 1,000 of those every single year in our various program centers throughout the city. And probably the most concerning thing, Perry, is we see a lot of young parents coming into our program center every single day. A 20-year-old mom with a 3-year-old child just trying to make it.
Is addiction a large part of it? Mental health issues another part of it? What causes a youth to become homeless?
Yeah, I mean, addiction can play a role in it, especially for our young adults. That might be a little bit more of an issue. For a minor, though, I mean, we're talking about broken relationships with family or instability in the household. A lot of those are students in our high schools here that are labeled as McKinney-Vento. That's the federal protection for those students. And so really for that program, it's all about helping them reach high school graduation and then think about what comes next.
Okay. Yeah, well, that's great. So with the changing legislative and policy funding kind of issues and the landscape that we're seeing, how is that affecting Outreach, if at all?
Yeah, well, I think Outreach is fortunate that we have not been, fully reliant on federal funds. We've really been historically buoyed by a really strong community presence and individual donor base. There are still some uncertainties that happen on the federal level that we have to work around. But at the end of the day, we're committed to being here. We're not just committed to staying where we are. We're actually committed to continuing to grow our presence in Indianapolis and surrounding communities. And even most recently, that's meant being able to serve Hamilton County schools.
Really?
Yeah.
Hamilton? Okay.
Yeah, they're believe it or not, there are homeless youth in Hamilton County.
And
I know. Can you imagine?
Westfield? Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So, what are some of the? I'm sure you can rattle off the top of your head, the systemic uh, causes. I just rattled off a couple of them, but and you rattled off some statistics. But uh, what are some common misperceptions, Andrew? About homeless youth in our community?
Yeah, that's a great question. So, we've heard a lot in our community recently about encampments,
Yes, we have.
and the homeless individuals and neighbors who are downtown. But the difficult part is our youth and young adults are not oftentimes found in those encampments.
Oh no,
No, you might see one or two. That's definitely a possibility, but youth homelessness just looks different. A lot of times for an 18-year-old, they might not feel comfortable going to an encampment or sleeping in a community like that.
Safety concerns.
Safety concerns, yes, absolutely, because they're vulnerable in that situation. Our young adults, you may find them by themselves under an overpass or sleeping out of a car. The other thing is they still have some of those relationships intact, and so the chronicity of their homelessness looks a little bit more sporadic. So I might be sleeping on an overpass tonight, or staying on a friend's couch tomorrow, or in a car.
Good old couch surfing. Right?
Good old couch surfing. It can just look a little bit different than adult homelessness.
And I'm sure because of the age range, the school system plays an outsized part in what you do.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, with those minors, being able to get in and work with the school system, work with the staff members is incredibly important. I mean, I know you guys know this on the women and children side. You have to be able to have those relationships with the school. And we're fortunate in Indianapolis that, across a really diverse educational ecosystem, whether it's traditional or charter schools, there are passionate educators who care about our students, and we love working with them.
Goodness.
Thank goodness, yeah.
Where would we be without passionate, committed educators?
Absolutely.
Public school educators. Right?
Yeah, absolutely. We need them.
Yeah, great. Mm-hmm. So what are you most hopeful for, in the next 2 or 3 years? And, and I'm making an assumption you're hopeful.
Yeah, absolutely.
I am too, about our situation with homeless adults, men, women, and even children. Yeah. But I'm very hopeful. So tell me what you're hopeful about. So what are you praying for?
Yeah.
Because I know you're a man of prayer. What are you praying that will happen in this community?
Yeah. Well, I think I am very hopeful on the youth homelessness side because, for us, we are stepping into housing. We're taking a leap of faith. Outreach, for 30 years has not owned its own housing. We've been a conduit to a lot of other housing programs, but kind of like I'm sure what Wheeler has seen.
I've heard the word housing or affordable housing one time. I've heard it 1,000 times
so many
within
times.
the last 24 hours. Right?
Oh yeah,
not only here, but when we are on the national feed, and the CEOs some of the CEOs we've set up private chat rooms, right? Zoom chat rooms, where we're just talking to each other.
Yeah.
And I've heard it, from Dallas, and I heard it from Evansville. I heard it from Fresno.
Yeah.
It's just a common thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and for me, I think it just speaks to the fact that there is this housing crisis, but then who is better to step into those situations than rescue missions and transformation ministries like Outreach, who walk alongside people for the long term. It's not just about just connecting someone to a place to live, but it's about building relationship with them. Because, as followers of Jesus, for me, it's always been about relationship. Yeah. Relationship equals transformation. Yeah. And that's what we're in the business of, is transformation.
That's what we're doing here. We have a really good relationship already, but I'm hoping to deepen it with just a conversation on a simple object like a bench.
Yeah.
Something ordinary. When people get together and talk, it can become extraordinary.
Yeah.
And that's through relationship.
Yeah. Well, how did this bench come to be? This is a beautiful bench.
Cool story. Very cool story. If I told it once, I'll tell it 1,000 times in the last 24 hours. But we have a long-term drug and alcohol addiction recovery program called Camp Hunt. And the Hunt family graciously donated almost 300 acres and pristine land down near Bloomington, Indiana, next to Morgan Monroe State Park, including a 30-acre lake and everything. And so we have had that property since 1958. And it is most recently, it has been the site of our long-term drug and alcohol addiction recovery program for men. And so part of that is work therapy. So the men, it's in a pretty intensive program. It's 9 months. They work and eat and pray and study, and for most of them, they become closer to Christ. After they go through our Hebron program, that's what we call it, Hebron, down at Camp Hunt. And so our social enterprises, we have a thrift store up north. We also have a pallet shop. So thrift social enterprises are the for-profit. Where we sell items through the nonprofit side to the for-profit world, right? And so one of them is our pallets, custom-made pallets. And so we asked the guys, you guys are working with wood all day long, 3, 4, 5 hours a day. Could you make a bench for us, right? And so this bench is made by men in our program currently at Camp Hunt.
Wow.
And so it's pretty special. They made it with their own hands and stained it and did all the rest of it with it. Little hard sometimes.
Yeah.
Last 24 hours.
Right.
But I know it comes from a place of love and caring about what I'm going to do and the conversations that are going to be taking place with all the people I've been talking to. Some scheduled like you, many that are unscheduled. People walking up. People who walking up and then bringing their friends to come and walk up.
Yeah.
And so it's been pretty much a growing experience and pretty interesting experience for me.
Yeah. Well, that's wonderful.
So one of the things that I often get asked is if I had a magic wand and I had unlimited resources, what would I do about homelessness in our community? What would you do under the same circumstances, Andrew, if you had a magic wand and unlimited resources and you were king for a day? What would you do?
Oh man. I mean, I would. I think, again, from the youth homeless perspective, if we were able to resource, that side of things in a way that allowed for deeper relationships with caring adults, I think you would see a transformation in this city. So here's a crazy thing that we've realized over the years. Research shows us that for adults that experience chronic homelessness, 50% of them first experienced that when they were between the ages of 14 and 24.
For real.
Yeah. So in my mind, that tells me that if we're able to break that cycle early, we could.
I wouldn't see as many people.
You wouldn't see as many people
through my front door every night. Last night, over 700 men, women, and children.
700. Yeah.
And it's not even cold yet.
No.
Wait until it starts to get cold.
No. And I mean, that's why I think like the ecosystem works well when you've got an outreach and a wheeler partnering together, because we see the full scope of homelessness and we're able to address it. And my job, I keep saying this, my job is I want to be able to put the wheelers of the world out of business. Will it ever happen on this side of heaven? Maybe not. Jesus said, the poor will always be with you. And so we're going to be here to meet them where they're at. But we do think that we can make a big difference on the homeless landscape in that way.
Well, great. Well, I know recently we forged a stronger partnership. The last couple of winters, and this winter we're going to have the same kind of relationship as well. The city, I had Andrew Merkley here, and he was talking about the new pilot for the temperature-based system, the Kansas City model. And for Wheeler, we're going to be that safety net always. We're going to be on a night-by-night basis like always. So we'll be there and run your experiments and warn your pilots. But we're always we're going to be here as that safety net to the safety net, right?
Yeah.
And that's what our role is going to be here during this winter contingency. And so we're very excited by the possible results of the pilot, and we're wishing for success. But we're still here, not doing a night by night and not a temperature based approach. So, and Andrew talked about the exciting new initiative, Streets to Home, right?
Yeah.
That's on everybody's lips. And how does that affect? You said there's not many youth in the encampment. So how does that affect youth homelessness?
Yeah, I mean, we are excited for the city that there is an initiative to do that. We also recognize that that's just one aspect of serving individuals experiencing homelessness. It's going to do some, but not a ton for our youth experiencing homelessness. We are excited because we recently stepped back into street outreach. So years ago when outreach started, it started by our founder, Eric Howard, going out and serving
reaching
youth.
Out.
Yeah, reaching out. We're returning to street outreach. So we are creating a youth-specific street outreach team.
Oh, really?
That will go out there to kind of the places where maybe not the encampments, but again, the places where our youth are experiencing homelessness and meeting them where they're at. So we're supportive of Streets to Home, but we also recognize that it's not the end all be all.
Yeah. Oh, and Andrew Merkley made some more news, and we got it on film. And I said, "Stop, hold it, hold it right there, stop in your tracks." He said, "Next month they're breaking ground on the housing note."
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I said, "What?" You know, that's
no
news,
idea,
folks.
Yeah.
So repeated, Andrew.
Yeah.
He did. So they're breaking ground. He said a press release and all the attended media attention is going to be coming forward.
Okay. Well, that's wonderful. Our city needs those resources.
Yeah, and we welcome it. I mean, there's enough folks who are unhoused and experiencing homelessness to go around, and so we welcome that, and we can't wait to see what that's going to look like.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, tell me some about some trends and stuff that's happening in youth homelessness. And people ask me all the time, what are the trends? And besides the numbers going up and the need becoming greater, the demand is increasing, while the supply of affordable housing is decreasing, or at least not keeping up with the pace.
Yeah.
So what are some trends in youth homelessness that you're seeing that you can kind of impart upon us? And I'll tell you, one of the trends we're seeing in adult homelessness is men with children. And there's not a lot of resources for men with children. You know, I mean, our definition right now is women with children. But there are the faction of committed men to their children that they really don't have the abundance of resources that women with children have. Yeah,
absolutely. That makes a lot of sense. On the youth side, I mean, again, young families is a real and present issue for us. Childcare. I'm sure you've seen this. Gosh,
recently happening.
It is rough.
It's been rough for a lot of people.
Yeah,
including us. I mean, so we've been estimating and looking at the situation, and we're trying to. We think we probably need to collaborate with some community partners like Shepherd and some other organizations to really try to solve this problem, because it is a key part of solving the homeless puzzle.
Absolutely. Well, and I think the reality is our young families, the parents, they want to break cycles of generational poverty. They want to be productive, self-sufficient citizens.
Yeah,
right.
Of course they do.
But it's really difficult to go out and even get the job when you don't have childcare figured out. And so
it's almost impossible.
It is. So that's something for us to figure out as a system. And there's great partners like you mentioned, Shepherd out there, Inglewood CDCs of the world that are coming to the table, I think, and we're excited to figure that out together.
But that's a trend also, and
it is
a concern with youth as well.
Yes.
You said you have a lot of young parents.
Yes, especially those littles, those newborns and 2-year-olds. We've got to be able to figure that piece out. Another concerning piece for young parents, infant mortality, right?
Wow.
If you are a young pregnant mom who's experiencing homelessness, the chances of you having a successful pregnancy are not the same compared to other counterparts who live in more stable environments. So we've got to do something to be able to address that. That's what our first step into housing is going to focus on, is some of those young pregnant moms who really want to be able to be good moms, but we've got to be able to get them through healthy pregnancies.
When all this happening again? Did you tell me this fall? Or?
Well, so we purchased a duplex,
okay.
And we're renovating it. We're working on it. We'll move our first family in by the end of this year, just in time for the holidays.
Yeah. Okay. Great. Very cool.
So
they'll spend holidays in the new duplex.
Yes. Yeah. It'll be a homecoming of sorts.
Oh wow.
It'll be really cool.
Wow. Yeah. So how do you think we can partner better with outreach? So what are some practical steps and practical things that we can do, to better support what you're doing and you supporting what we're doing? I mean, we're already doing a lot.
Absolutely. Well, and I think to speak to that, I mean, your team is incredible in the way that you do, and the way that they communicate with my team has continued to just blossom. So I think that is a key piece, is that we continue to communicate well, problem solving those individual situations that pop up. I think having a resource like Wheeler, available to us, because we get those middle of the night situations. You get an 18-year-old who is kicked out of their parents' house, and where can they go? You have all these different situations pop up where being able to have contacts like that is incredibly important. I'm excited to see what partnership continues to look like on the housing front. There's going to be so much opportunity there. But then, a lot of people don't know this, but your staff is represented, my staff's represented at various conversations, and tables throughout the community. And so, I think like collectively, we have our fingers on the pulse of what is happening in our city around housing and homelessness. And that means a lot for us to be represented there.
Yeah. So I've been silent and letting you do all the talking, me asking all the questions. And, so you have any questions of me or something you've always wanted to know, like you don't know already?
Right.
The answer even before you ask it.
Right.
You knew the answer to this bench.
Yes.
Before you even asked that question. So is there anything that I can answer for you?
Well, I'll tell you, this is something that people may not know. You were on the board, right, of Outreach years ago.
Almost back in the very beginning, and actually I was chair of the board for about 5 or 6 years. I was chair right before Bob Grant.
Okay.
So Bob Grant is a legend.
He is
with Outreach, and so
and
we recruited Bob, and we had to have some political balance.
Yes.
And Bob was that political balance for us. And
Yeah.
Bob is just his heart of he and Melody both for the outreach ministry, and the Rolodex of that man. The stuff that he could just pull off by sending out 5 emails, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. So yes, I was involved way back in the day. I saw Eric, the founder.
Yep.
Yeah, I was for a number of years. I was doing BSF at Second Pres Monday nights at 7:00, and Eric was, so there's a number of leaders. I was one of probably 20 male leaders, and you have these small groups of men that you're stewarding and shepherding, and a weekly study of the Bible, right? On Monday nights. Eric was one of them. And I was intrigued by this young man. Here I was, a business guy. I'd come in back in the day. Remember those suspenders?
Absolutely,
in your pants.
Yep.
Not outside your pants, but the buttons inside your pants. So I was coming from work every Monday at 7:00 to Second Pres, and I had a group of 10 men, and Eric was one of them. Long hair, ponytail, dead of winter, shorts and sandals. And this guy just knew so much about the Bible, so much about theology, and I was just intrigued by this young man, and so I got to know him, and how he started. I'm sure you got all this written down, but started. I think it was bologna sandwiches, and socks out of the trunk of his car. That is, part of the origins of outreach. So, and I came alongside him for several years while I was here, and then even when I moved to Fort Wayne, I was chair of the board. I was coming down and still chair of the board, and even though I was long distance, and then I came back and I was still there. So I have a long history with outreach. So, and so you can kind of say my interest in homelessness began back then, not just adult homelessness, but youth homelessness as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Well,
so that is a fun fact.
That is a fun fact.
You knew the answer.
I did.
I told you he knew the answer before he even asked the question. So we're going to be wrapping it up, and so they're giving me the signal.
Okay.
But I just appreciated you being here. This fly.
I know.
What is wrong with this fly?
I want to give you this, Perry, too, because
what is it?
I know you're out here. Well, it's a little bit warmer now, but you're out here when it was cold last night.
Yeah.
If you get cold again, I want you to be able to have one of these outreach.
Oh my goodness.
Long sleeves.
Oh
so,
my goodness. Thank you so
throw it on
much.
And keep yourself warm.
Seen, known, and loved.
That's it.
That's outreach. So, Andrew, thank you so much. Thank you for coming. Spending time having a conversation on the bench with me, down in noisy downtown Indianapolis.
Love it.
Don't you love it?
I love it.
That's our city.
That is.
You got to love our city. By the way, before we go, how's your family? You got such a young, cute family of boys, no girls.
All boys, yeah.
And I see all these things on Facebook about sports activities. You're in the thick of it.
We are. So pray for us.
We will.
Thank God I have a great wife who manages all that.
Yeah, fantastic.
Yeah.
So we'll be praying for you.
Awesome.
So, guys, that's it for another segment, another interview, another phenomenal conversation with a good partner and personal friend, Andrew Neal. The president and CEO of Outreach Inc. They do wonderful work with homeless youth here in the city. And I'm just waiting for when Andrew tells me he's going to be going to different cities. I'm kind of waiting on that. I don't think it's too far fetched, and so I think it's coming one day. So we're going to take a break, and then we're going to come back with our next guest, who's going to sit here on the bench and have a really authentic, transparent, and honest conversation with us. Conversations on the bench. We'll see you later.